Welcome to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health, a podcast of resources for restoring vigor and vitality, bringing you top influencers in the men's health arena, case studies of men who have succeeded and how they did it, and cutting-edge teaching on men's health issues from America's leading men's health guru, Dave Skattum. Get ready to take steps towards good health. Here's your host, Dave Skattum.
I just read a report that the United States spends $530 billion a year on illnesses and illness-related issues. Holy cow, it is insane. And what that really tells me and what that means to me is that people are losing their dreams and losing the ability to really live the fullest extent of their life. And that's why I am focused these last few sessions on building strong immunities and building our bodies up so that we can resist those things that attack us and make us sick. Who wants to be on the couch sick? So that's where we're at. Welcome to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health. I am so excited to have a guest interviewee today on our show. His name is Jacobus. Jacobus, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Welcome to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health.
Well, thank you, Dave. It's really nice.
All right.
I had a chance to start reading your book, and it's got a lot of great information in it. Congratulations on your effort and on your success.
Yeah, we just launched that thing, and we got it's an Amazon #1 bestseller, so I'm pretty excited. But I want to tell the audience a little bit about you. You are the owner of this really cool little shop, a brick-and-mortar shop in downtown Bozeman called Gesundheit Nutrition Center. That's pretty cool. I just heard and understand that you were a talk show host for 19 years, as well as a soccer coach who you have a state championship around your neck. That is really amazing. So a couple other things I noticed about you is that you're a grandfather of you have 3 cute little girls. I'm sure you're a doting grandfather, and you have this a kind of a podcast, and your mission is to entertain, educate about health, healing, and healthy lifestyle. So
That's right.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what's going on in your life, what you're doing, and what is turning your crank these days?
Well, thank you, Dave. I turned 60 in December, and I tell you that I have never felt so fit and strong in my life. I started working out. I started watching things, and I still may not get enough sleep, but I feel there are a lot of great things happening in my life. I have 4 grandchildren. I got 3 girls, 2 are twins, and then a girl, a 5-year-old. The twins are 18 months, and I have a 3-year-old grandson. And the thing for me is that it does change your life, exactly like you're saying. That brings the focus to a whole different part of your life. I am still focused on the store. I'm still focused on things that I feel I have in me that I want to do, such as podcast and talking and sharing information with people. But I find also in communicating with my wife, and we've been married 38 years, and she says, what is really important to you? Maybe you're done talking to people. Maybe it's okay. Maybe you don't have to worry. Maybe focusing on us and on the grandchildren and on the children is what we need to do. And so I leave my options open for what the future is going to bring. But there is always for me this idea that turning 60, that was this like, whoa, 60. And I have to tell you, Dave, I've tried shortcuts, but it takes exactly 60 years to get there. And I feel very, very good, And it's interesting. A lot of people on my father's side have died of heart attacks and heart disease. And my father was 52. My father's oldest brother died of a heart attack at 29. His youngest brother at 32.
Wow.
My grandfather died at 41. My aunt at 45. Like I said, my 52. He had 2 brothers that were still alive and a sister at the time, 6-7 years after he passed away. And then one of them had cardiovascular disease and finally died when the brother and the sister who were left over were discussing how to do the funeral the next day. My uncle had a heart attack while he was on the phone ordering flowers, and he collapsed, so they had 2 funerals in 2 days. So it's heart disease in my family. Absolutely, yeah. 16 or 17 people have died of heart disease on my dad's side. And so, yes, there is definitely an interest in heart disease for me. Yeah. Worried about it. Yeah. I talk to my sisters. I got 3 older sisters. And all of us, when we hit that age of 52, we're all going like, whew, it looks like we did okay. And now we're all in our 60s. And so it is an interesting thing. And I feel, Dave, that with as I'm getting older, there are certain things I don't want to stress about anymore. And part of it is that I am so grateful for so many opportunities that have come my way, and people I've met in my life who have enriched my life and who have who have helped me to get on the path to where I am today, that I feel totally privileged. And people come in and they sit down with me and I have consultations with people, and they're all free. And people say after an hour, I need to pay you some money. And I said, please, I'm not a doctor. And they say, yeah, but I'll learn more from you than I've ever learned from a doctor. And I said, listen, I have received so much in my life. I am so grateful that you came in and talked to me. I just want to give back. And so for me, life has been really, really special.
Yeah. Wow. That's boy, that, I think I hear the heartbeat of your message when you talk about those people in your past who passed away too soon, and there's things, a lot of these things are preventable, and that's why I think this whole idea about immunity and having a strong immune system is so critical. And I'm really curious about your thoughts on the relationship between a strong immunity and our hormones, especially as we age as men. And we talked about this a little bit, but why don't you just talk a little bit about the importance of the immunity and then hormones and how that relationship happens, and then maybe at the end we'll end with maybe some key things that we can do to improve that situation. So tell us a little bit about hormones and some of the stuff you've told me already.
Very, very interesting topic, and I have to go back in time a little bit because I came across this article. There's an organization called Life Extension Foundation, and you can go to lifeextension.com, and you can find a lot of information. And when you look up, when you go to Life Extension, I recommend every man to go there, lifeextension.com, and then go to the magazine and put in testosterone controversy, and you will find the article. I just printed it out again. It's 24 pages. It's really elaborate. It has a bunch of references in it as well. But this is what it is about, Dave. Life Extension was working with a study that was published in 2012. And the study took 5 years, 5.1 years, and it involved more than 2,400 men, 2,416 to be precise, between the ages of 69 and 81 years old. And they said, we want to find out why is it that as men get older, there is an increase of belly fat, an increase of diabetes, an increase of prostate cancer, an increase of heart attacks and strokes, an increase of Alzheimer's, an increase of arthritis. Why is it that as we men get older, that we are falling apart? And one of the doctors came up with this idea that said, hey, if you look at hormone levels of a younger man, we find out that these guys don't have these issues. So why do we deal with issues as we get older? Excuse me. And they they said, okay, let's test these hormones, testosterone and estradiol, and they talked about free testosterone. I personally added in my article that I wrote about it also DHEA. And then when you do the blood test, you have the -S for sulfate. So DHEAS. And what happened, Dave, is they looked at this group and they tested their testosterone because as they say in the article, the purpose of the study was to see if high-dose testosterone cream could improve strength and mobility in these degenerated men. Early results shows to be effective in improving muscle strength, but the study had to be stopped because too many cardiovascular events occurred. So what is the scoop here? They said, they said the bottom line is this. Our testosterone, so we have total testosterone output. They said our total testosterone ideally should be between 700 and 900 nanograms per deciliter. But they said you don't want to go under 550. So every man that had, let's say, 549, 548, 547, etc., anything below 550, there was an immediate increase, 30% increased risk for cardiovascular disease and a 24% increased risk for strokes. So that was huge. They said, my goodness. So they said, let's try to help men to get the testosterone over 550. So what happened is, as they start giving these men testosterone creams, so some guys were in 200, 340, so they were pretty low, and they said, let's give them this testosterone cream, and so they cranked up their testosterone to about 700 to 900. Now, the interesting thing is, 99% of men have never heard of the word estradiol. It's one of 3 estrogens. And so medical doctors do not even worry about it. They just check men's testosterone. And what happened, Dave, is that if you look at the breakdown of hormones, testosterone converts into estradiol with the help of an enzyme called aromatase. Aromatase pulls from the testosterone and converts that hormone into estradiol. So some men have higher aromatase, so they pull hard and they convert a lot of estradiol, and some men don't have that. They discovered that younger men in general have lower aromatase, but the aromatase enzymes increases as they get older. So here we go. They say if a man has a total testosterone level of 700 to 900, the ideal level of estradiol should be between 22 and 30. And what they discovered is that if the estradiol goes above 37, there is an immediate 133% increased risk for cardiovascular problems and prostate cancer.
Kidding me.
And so, so estradiol goes up, men have prostate cancer. That is why I also believe that when men are diagnosed with prostate cancer and they go to the doctor, the first thing the doctor does is puts them on a medication called Lupron. And Lupron lowers testosterone and all the hormones. And when you ask the doctors, why do you do this? They say, well, because testosterone fuels prostate cancer. And I've told them, I said, that means, why is it then that every 25-year-old man in this country does not have prostate cancer? They have lots of testosterone. So the higher testosterone is not a cause of prostate cancer, but the elevated estradiol is responsible for more prostate cancer. And when you look at the last 50 years and you see the tremendous increase of estrogenic compounds in food with the soy industry, in herbicides and pesticides such as Roundup, which contain estrogenic compounds. We see it in the hormone use in animals in order to fatten them and to get more milk production out. So in the dairy industry and in the meat industry, in the pork industry, the chicken industry, these days, if for a chicken to grow from bursting out of the egg to be a chick to fully grown so they can chop the head off at Tyson Chickens, it's 28 days. So it is incredible. So obviously hormones are being used to plump them up and to get out of them what they need. So, and then you look at the females, all the women who have started going on the pill in 1969 and who have really had an effect. They have to, the hormones that they're on, so the extra estradiol, the extra progestin, synthetic progesterone. Now, all these, you add it all up, so you're talking about tens of trillions of animals in the last 50 years in the whole Western, let's say, developed nations. And then you look at all the women who have been doing the pill and all these hormone treatments in order to feel better or go through menopause. You're talking about tens of billions of women over the last 50 years. And all these women need to use the bathroom. And animals, they poop and pee wherever they stand. So some of this estrogenic material is simply ending up in the groundwater. And so we are polluting our streams, we're polluting the oceans, we're polluting the lakes, we're polluting the water that we shower with. And so if you add it all up, men are being exposed to estrogens all the time. And so I tell people, listen, you have to do a test on your estrogen and testosterone. So let's talk real quick again about the total testosterone. So if it is 700 to 900, that is where you want to be, then your estradiol should be between 22 and 30. If you get over 37, you increase your risk for prostate cancer and cardiovascular disease. So let's say somebody's testosterone is 350, so half of 700, right? If that is the case, you also want your estradiol to be about half of 22 to 30. So you want to be at about 11. Yes. Because if we say, hey, we want to boost your testosterone, so you either put them on supplements for testosterone, or you put them on cream, troches, whatever, the injections. Let's say we are doubling our testosterone from 350 to 700, then the chances are that the aromatase enzyme is converting that testosterone into estradiol, and so you would go from 11 to 22, which is normal range. I have talked for years now to men, Dave, who say, well, my testosterone is low, and but my estradiol is in the normal range. I said, well, give me numbers. And they say, well, my testosterone is 350, but my estradiol is 29. So I'm between 22 and 30. And I said, now, hold on a second. You want to double the testosterone. So you want to go from 350 to 700, 800, whatever. What do you think is going to happen to your estradiol? Well, that will double also. So now you go from 29 to 58. Well, it says if you go over 37, you increase your risk for prostate cancer 133%. And I have seen too many men, Dave, in the last years who have prostate cancer who have been on hormone replacement therapy from the doctor, where they literally are being doubled in the hormones, in the testosterone, but then the estradiol doubles as well. And that is why all these men within 5 years end up with prostate cancer. And so what happened in this search, in this research, they found when they gave all these men who had low testosterone testosterone cream, what happened was within 5 years, they had cardiovascular problems, they developed prostate cancer. So and they start having different issues with their health and strokes. So for me, to watch what your total testosterone is, to do it, I tell men, do a total testosterone, do a free testosterone test, blood test, do an estradiol blood test, and I recommend men do a DHEA sulfate test. Now you have your numbers. So one thing that we see with DHEA, and you've heard about the hormone, the DHEA perfect levels or good levels for a man should be between 450 and 600. If you want to be in the good range, you are between 300 and 450. You get below 300, you are deficient. And if you get below 125, you are worrisome. So we do know that DHEA peaks at about 35, But by the time we're 70 years old, the DHEA is supposed to be somewhere around 30% of peak. And what do we see when men's DHEA goes down? They start feeling sluggish. They don't have the muscle tone. They don't have the strength and the stamina. They don't have the energy. They don't have the brain function perfectly. So these are things, the hormones really can have a lot to do with our immune health and as we are growing older.
Hey, Jacobus, as you're talking, I was just like getting more and more like stirred up about this. I just see this as being such a preventative type of a situation for all the different things that you're talking about: stroke, heart disease, cancer. All these things are related to this. And so, if there's people out there listening to us, and I'm kind of in the same boat. You mentioned go get tested. So how does this actually happen? I mean, can they come to your shop and get tested, or do they go to a hospital, or how does this all? How do you find out? You mentioned the 4 key areas that they should be tested for, but how does that actually? Say I'm a guy in the middle of town somewhere. Where would I, if I want to do this, get tested? Where do I go to do this?
Well, in Bozeman, there is one lab that is not connected to Bozeman Deaconess Health, and it is called TriMed Services, TRIMED, TriMed. And they have a doctor on staff, but you can literally just walk in and just say, I like to get these hormones tested. And they said, fine. So, and if you go on Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, between 8 and noon, in the morning, they have a discounted rate that ranges from about 30% to 50% discount on these tests. And so that would be, in my opinion, if you live in this area, that would be a good way to go. But then you get the numbers within a few days. And then if you want me to talk to you about it, by all means, call me, set up an appointment. Like I said, it's free. We'll go through the numbers. Now, if people are listening outside this area, they really need to talk to their doctors and say, listen, I am worried about my cardiovascular health. I want to test my testosterone, my free testosterone, my DHEA, my estradiol. Do not forget that estradiol. And so then the doctor simply should do it. Now, most doctors will say everything is fine. No, we want to make sure that we get the numbers in our hands so that we can get a second opinion on this. And Dave, it is very, very important indeed that men understand testosterone. When you improve your testosterone, you will also improve your good cholesterol, HDL. So HDL, when it goes up, it actually works in removing other deposited cholesterol out of the arteries. So it's very important. So if your HDL is between 35 and 45, you are in the danger zone. High increased risk for cardiovascular problems. If you are above 60, you are in the safe zone. And if you are above 84, 85, you have fantastic HDL. Now, what can improve that? Weight and resistance training can improve natural testosterone. So if men say, I do not want to take a pill, or I do not want to get an injection, or they don't want to come to the store or wherever they are, health food store, and get things to improve that testosterone, then I say, okay, then make sure you do resistance training. And so the blood test is something that you should talk to your doctor about. And I want to add one more thing. We are being told all the time, Dave, that cholesterol is the evil that causes cardiovascular problems. It is a lie. It is debunked many times. There is a blood test that men should do if they're worried about heart. And the blood test is called homocysteine. Homocysteine, HOMOCYSTEINE, homocysteine. And research has shown that homocysteine levels out of range are 40 times more accurate in predicting a cardiovascular problem than cholesterol will ever be, because cholesterol is something that is made naturally by the liver that has reasons why it is there, while homocysteine has to do with a protein, L-homocysteine, that is not converted into another protein. So the conversion rate is not there. There is a lack of certain vitamins, B6, B12, and folic acid. If they're not abundantly in the body, then there is a chance that you're not converting your homocysteine, which means the homocysteine stays unconverted. When that number is elevated, if you get a homocysteine over 15, it's very dangerous, and you increase your risk for cardiovascular disease. Between 10 and 15, that is an increase. If you get yourself below 10, you are going to be okay. And so this is another little tip that I want to give for that.
Great. Well, let's kind of wrap this up. I feel like we could just spend like hours on these topics, and each one of these could be like a whole show in and of itself. But what I'm hearing from you is what a person really should do. I guess even back up farther, I was going to say get a blood test on these things, but maybe get into a weight resistance training program. Start building up some muscle. But then outside of that is let's get our DHEA, our testosterone, and our estradiol and homeocysteine, a blood test on those things.
Yes, especially if you're a little worried about your heart. Just get the homocysteine tested, the free testosterone, the total testosterone, the DHEA, and the estradiol. And then you have those 4 hormones, and with the homocysteine, and that to me will tell you if you have a high risk for cardiovascular problems, an increased risk for strokes, increased risk for prostate cancer. And so to me, those are essential for men to just simply check as we get older. And some men have it already done in their 40s. They do a blood test and they find out that their testosterone is low. Now, and men think that when they think, oh, well, I have a lot of sex. I have a lot of ideas about it. I'm hot to trot, I have a lot of libido. That has nothing to do with testosterone. Testosterone can help you with this. So it is not that any man who has a testosterone of 800 or 900 is just walking around like a horny guy. That's not the issue. There are guys that have low testosterone, but they have that hormone in their brain, oxytocin, that simply just gets them all riled up. With testosterone, men need to understand that we need testosterone and low estradiol.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see that connection. All right, sounds good. Well, man, I sure appreciate your input here. And what I'm going to do is after we hang up, Jacobus, I'm going to get these numbers from you on these different tests and put them right in the little description below this podcast, so guys can look at that. And then, if somebody has any questions or wants to get more information or find out what you're doing or whatever, how can people get a hold of you to get more information? Maybe the address of your shop or phone number, however you want to do that.
Yeah, I don't know how far you reach, but I'm sure you want to go worldwide with this. So I would say my phone number is 406 599 2519. 406 599 2519. If people want to set up an appointment with me at the store, they can also do that at 406 585 4668. 585 4668. And then if people want to send me an email and ask me a question, but you can also text me, of course, on that cell phone number. My email is a little complicated because it is Jacobus@gesundheitnutrition.com, and I'm sure most people don't know how to spell that. So I'll spell it for you. Jacobus, go ahead.
Hey, you know what? I'll just put a link right in the description in this podcast, and they can just click right on it. So I think that would be the easiest thing. But man, Jacobus, I feel like we go on for a long time. We haven't even got into the remedies for these things. I'm sure you have some great remedies for each one of these issues. Say a guy went and got a blood test and found out, whoa, this my estradiol is way high or way low or whatever, and
yes.
I need to address this. And I'm sure you have answers for that too. And we just don't have enough time in this program, but maybe in a future program we could get more into, now what do I found out this, and now what do I do? So
yes, exactly.
So I really appreciate your time.
What I can tell you right now, go ahead.
Yeah.
What I can tell you real quick, if men's estradiol gets really low, below 13, there is an increased risk for fractures and osteoporosis. And so what I recommend to men is when you have a blood test, we have a baseline. Then we can pick the supplements that you need because there's different options. I recommend men do these supplements for 3 months, then retest and see which of the supplements are working and which one are not working, and then make an adjustment. But there is hope for men whose levels are not adequate. So that's what I wanted to finish with.
And I hope what people hear from this is that, we do have things going on in our society, in our world, that are having negative impacts on our bodies. But there are the truth is there's answers to this, and it starts with developing that baseline, finding out where you're at with these hormones, and then addressing issues that you need to address. And you can do that without going to getting these big, huge shots of whatever. So I'm really glad that we got this message out. And just any parting message that you want to say to everybody, and we'll close with that.
Well, I first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to speak. And I do hope if you want me to come back, I'd love to come back. For me, I know I've seen it through the years that men's health is improving. I have talked to men with prostate cancer, stage 3, whose numbers have improved dramatically, and they have no more symptoms. And so I know that when you are dealing with a certain disorder, the body wants to heal. We just have to give it the tools. And the tools are out there, and I am so grateful for all the things that I've learned from the experts on my radio show that who always give you hope. They always say, listen, the research is out. You can fix this. And so I wish that men understand, don't give up. There is always hope to improve. It's all about quality of life.
All right. Thank you very much, Jacobus. You have a good day.
Thank you so much.
You've been listening to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health with Dave Skattum. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit the4pillarsofmenshealth.com.